Ready to go, Corey? Get into it. Morning, guys. Up in the beautiful Coromandel again. Yeah, I'm really lucky to have Corey West, the Sea West fishing with me today. Check out his vid. We're both in the 400s. We're heading out to do a bit of wash fishing. Dead flat today, so should be able to get him really close. Hopefully pull something good out of the gutters. Let's get into it. Well, she's a bloody long paddle to start the day off. Just got to get into the rhythm, mentally tough it out. Catch you guys when we get there. What I really love about pike fishing is the exercise that you get doing it. Can't beat it. What's your PB that we've got to beat, Corey? What's your PB you want to beat? 14 pound on the Clyde. Yeah, they're definitely here. So there you go. Corey's target is to catch a snapper bigger than 14 pounds. And my target is to use only 2 rods. And the soft bait of choice today are jigging grubs. I've got way too many soft baits on my wall and I need to get rid of some. And the bloody jigging grubs, they've been sitting there for a long time. So I've got to either learn to use them or biff them. Sun just coming up. There's Corey over there. And we've still got the moon in the sky, or half the moon. So let's look at our bite time forecast. It's a good day for fishing with a good bite time first thing in the morning before we hit the water. It's meant to be a reasonable bite time between 10:11 and 11:11. And then it fires with green lights between 4:30 and 6:30 in the afternoon. A few more casts and I'll change the colour. But we'll go for 2, so there you go. Come around, little fella. Next cast, another fish, so we might be finding where they're holding. Haven't had to use the net yet, guys, so hopefully they get a bit bigger, but it's an improvement. Oh, it's real, it's screaming. Gee, this doesn't look good. This fish is heading straight for the rocks. It's a decent one, eh? I could put the underwater camera down there, eh? Never a good feeling when you get owned, but I'm sure there's going to be a redemption. Jigging grubs are a type of soft bait that I don't use that often. The reason being is I tend to think they work best dropping straight down on sign or dragging behind the kayak, and that's not how I fish. Well, the fishing's pretty quiet, but the B-rolls not good today. We'll just sneak in here and I'll just show you a couple of my little mates. You're a big bugger. Hey buddy. Been pretty slow, but we've hooked up again, getting a little tow. There we go. Pretty epic with the orange soft bait coming up through the water. There we go. Baby. Another one back to Tangara. Your lucky day, buddy. Tough Corey. It's been tough. Do you know what the time is? Oh, yeah. Well, a nice little snapper. It's been quiet, so this one's going to go in the bin. Well, we're catching plenty of fish, just not the right size. Such an epic location. One of these casts has to convert into a big fish. But today, it's just tough, tough, tough. Constantly casting around all the nooks and crannies, just hoping that sooner or later it's going to land in front of a big fish. What a bust up, guys. I hooked the fish of the day. I think my cameras are off. I go to turn them on. I lose all the footage and I get taken to the cleaners. After losing that big fish, I decided it was time to change to the heavy gear and big jigging grubs.
Get out of the weed. Can't tell you how deep we are, guys. It's good when you can see how deep it is when they're taking you out, but this is a Rezo fish, not as big as the one I lost earlier. Still a pretty good fish. There's not much drag on it though. So it could be a lot smaller than I'm picking. Not huge, but could be like 4 to 5 kilo. Hard to tell, I haven't had one on this rod for a bit. Might be smaller than that, Corey. Yeah. No, it's not a baddie. And one camera dies. Oh, hopefully that's the start of it.
Nice fish.
It's good. This one for Bill and Val. They wanted one to smoke, so here you go, guys. Yeah, snapper. My neighbour's got his feed now. Nice eater. Paul's going to be happy with that. He's got his 2 he wanted. Big grub. Try to drag him out. I thought that would be a really good idea to add this rod holder, but I'm going to need more secure straps on this lid than this little bungee. Right, we'll bring it in, see what we've got. Not a big one, just a tricky spot. Just a nice eater. There you go. Another one to take home. No, I'm nearly, yeah, no, get another 2. Take it up to 6, able to feed 3 families. Might not end well. Rocks around here. Fuck me. Right in a reeky little pommy gutter, and we're hooked up, surrounded by broken rocks in the entrance of this little bay. Himself. Need to retie my gear. Hey mate, it's a screamer. I better reach other, at least it's gone that way. I'm gonna be able to reach other camera for a bit. It's gotta be a kingy. Shallows, eh?
Hooked in close around the rocks. Unfortunately for me, it decided to swim straight out.
It's been a long day. Corey and myself have bloody done a shit ton of casts. I need to count them. At least this one's swimming away from the rocks. Got a heavy drag on it, even though it's my heavy gear, so. Shit, it's right over a reef here, I can see the bottom. Right, go into that bloody weed. Gotta be a kingy, mate. Doesn't feel that snappery. It's going back. It's going back into that reef. You can see it and it's going back to it. Oh, there's a snapper, I think. I've just seen some reef. Good snap out of the shallows. To land this shit, guys. The big dog. Not a bad one, mate. Yeah. That would be your PB. Up on the kite. You're meant to get this one, mate, not me. Shame I haven't got my chesty on at the moment.
What's that?
There we go. Epic. The shallows. All that casting and the only 3 decent hookups all day. Hits. All been in the shallow water, the skinny water. Winter fishing. Do you want one for the smoker, mate? I'll probably got some fish in there for you anyway. Let this one go. Jeez, mate, you hooked it well. Caveman jig head. There we go. Soft bait. I'll let you go, big fella. Get a photo. Nice one. See if they live, mate. So when you put the camera down, it'd be nice to have one in the water. Yeah, he's gone. It was epic. We are on again. Just hugging the coastline, working the bombies. This is not a big one like last time, but be a nice eater. It was such a tough day to start with, but for me it's ended up pretty good. Perseverance, eh? Just that keeps going and going. So I've had a couple of viewers in the last week wanting to know a bit about the combos I'm using, and one wanting to know about fluorocarbon and braid. So here we go. This is an important part. So this is the process, how I've selected my 2 rods for this outing. So let's get into it. Check this out, guys. Still chainsaw. Quality German brand. We all know it's top of the range, best chainsaw out there in my opinion. Well, with the Stihl chainsaw, it's no different than fishing reels. When I went to buy that chainsaw, there was 3 others in the same size. One's made in Germany, one's made in Brazil, and one's made in China, all at a different price point. This one's made in Germany. It's lasted me a long time. Fishing reels are no different. All the main brands have top shelf items and lower tier items. Brands like Shimano and Daiwa, their top reels are made in Japan, and their lower tier ones, I think, are either made in China or Malaysia. So in this case, this reel here, this is a Daiwa Certate LT 2500, is made in Japan. I was lucky enough that I won it in a comp a couple of years ago, and it's been bulletproof. I love this reel, but they're not cheap. They're around that $800. From what I've heard, around that price point, $800 in the Shimano range, is also when you're buying the made in Japan products. So that's when you're getting quality, you got to spend that little bit more. Awesome reel. I've got it matched with 15-pound Suffix 131, and I use 20 to 25-pound fluorocarbon leader with the setup. So this rod is a 5 to 8 kg rod, and it's rated for using lures up to 21 grams. So that's a lure up to 3/4 of an ounce. I tend to use smaller paddle tails mainly with this reel and rod combo. So I'm using 1/2 to 5/8 jig heads pretty much 90% of the time, and it gives me the feel and keeps me in touch with the soft bait and when fish bite. A lot of the Daiwa rods that are available for us fishermen in New Zealand come with a longer butt section. They're designed for the boaties so that when they plant them in the side of their boats and the rod holders, the reels aren't being knocked. That's not suitable for us kayakers because a long butt means that when we're cramped sitting down and we're casting, it catches with our PFD. So what I've done in this case is I've cut 70 millimeters out of the middle of the butt section. With an old broken rod, I've matched up a spigot, so it's a piece of carbon fibre that sleeves inside it. I've glued that in place and I've insulation taped it over the EVA foam. Might look ugly, but it makes it so much nicer to use. So unless you can find a rod that's suitable and the butt is about 2 inches before your elbow, then you just got to compromise and hack it. So there you go, guys, that's a little tip. Now we're going to talk about the second combo that I chose to take with me. I was going for a heavier setup because I was wanting to cast bigger jigging grubs. So this combo you've seen me use quite a lot of times in the vids. It's about 2 to 3 years old. It's a Daiwa Lozza HD. Awesome reel. It can be used either for stray lining or jigging. I quite often put it on a 2 to 4 PE jigging rod. So in this case, I've matched it up with the Kuma MC Nano softbait rod. It's 8 to 12 kgs, so it's a fairly heavy action softbait rod and tends to work better with heavier lures. So the bottom end of the jig heads that I'd run on this rod is about 3/4 of an ounce, and I'd use it anywhere up to roughly 1.5 ounces. After the vid I had up at the Bounty Hunter comp when I got dusted by a kingfish when I was live baiting with the setup, I've changed the braid and I've gone for 30-pound Daiwa X8 braid, and I used 30-pound Yoseri fluorocarbon leader on the setup. So for the weekend, I chose to use roughly 3/4 ounce jig heads because I was going to be fishing in the shallows. And these big jigging grubs are not available anymore, but I've got a little stash of them. They're 15 grams. So that took me to roughly 1.25 ounces of lure weight for casting. Perfect for this rod.